Hi there, I'm Ron Wilkinson, and I manage the One Scotland Gazetteer. If your first thought is, what is a gazetteer? Well, please stick with this video for just over 5 minutes to find out. Please also stick around if you want to hear how the One Scotland Gazetteer is an exemplar of digital transformation in action and how it can be used as a blueprint for information sharing and data linking across government. Sitting within the Data and Intelligence Service of the Improvement Service is a range of data, research and analytical functions. This includes the One Scotland Gazetteer, which has two integrated components: Scotland's official address register and the National Street Network. The One Scotland Gazetteer is a national data set that records land, property and street information. Let's delve a little deeper into this. Firstly, to those who are asking what a gazetteer is, it is simply a geographic directory. The One Scotland Gazetteer holds physical features such as monuments or parks, but most significantly perhaps, every property in Scotland. These features are defined by a UPRN, a unique property reference number, which is a persistent and unique ID for every record in Great Britain. Each local authority is assigned a UPRN range by the Improvement Service, so no UPRN is ever reused or duplicated. Supplementary information about each feature is also captured, including the status of construction, the land use type, for example, if it's a flat, shop, or leisure centre, and crucially, the address and geographic location, defined by the coordinates, often referred to as the georeference. Each property is linked to a street, which also has an authoritative unique ID, the Unique Street Reference Number, the USRN. The data is governed by a playbook for the local government staff who create and manage it. This is the One Scotland Gazetteer Conventions. This is based on the British Standard for Geographical Referencing, which means that there's a UK consistent basis to all land and property information captured in this way. The Convention's guidance is managed by the Improvement Service, and its purpose is to ensure consistency and standardisation across the dataset, even with 32 different contributors. This is so the data can be easily transferred, analysed and applied to whatever application or use it needs to underpin. The next couple of slides show the high-level conceptual model along with the data model. Ultimately, the concept is very simple. Ensure that every piece of information conforms to a consistent schema. Establish a framework which promotes consistent data entry and information sharing, and along with stringent logic and database compliance rules. Provide that information easily and seamlessly to licensed users, negating the need for any of those users to create and manage their own address or street information, thereby preventing duplication and resource inefficiency across the Scottish public sector, ensuring one definitive source of the truth, and having prevalent and consistent identifiers across government, which makes cross-organisation analysis seamless, something which came to the fore during the initial onset of the COVID outbreak. The final piece of this is facilitating feedback loops for all users, thereby ensuring continual improvement at the data source, which in this case is the contributing local authorities. Secondly, here is the associated process model, which shows that the information flows replicate the conceptual model in practice. Firstly, data is created by each of Scotland's 32 local authorities, according to the guidance the Improvement Service provides. The data is then submitted to Improvement Service via FTP or a secure portal. The data is provided by each local authority at least once a week, although daily provision is encouraged. When the data is received, comprehensive data validation is run against it to ensure that only standardised and compliant data is loaded into the national dataset. The Improvement Service then publishes the national dataset for users, either as a download or via an API. As the vast majority of users across government are using the same address and street data to underpin their systems, analysis between and within an organisation can be easily carried out, in most cases using the unique identifiers. So who are the users of the One Scotland Gazetteer? Well, the One Scotland Gazetteer is used by just about every public sector organisation in Scotland in some shape or form. This is in excess of 80 separate organisations. This utilises the create once, use multiple times methodology, which provides significant economies of scale and assures that the most up-to-date and accurate data is available to all users. Of the users, it's worth noting that all three emergency services use the One Scotland Gazetteer on the front line within their command and control systems. Additionally, the data is used by eDevelopment Scotland for planning and building standards applications, National Records of Scotland for the forthcoming census, the Energy Savings Trust for the granting of energy performance certificates required for all property sales, and Registers of Scotland for the recording of all land and property transactions. The data is also supplied to Ordnance Survey for onward provision to the private sector, making the authoritative Gazetteer data prevalent throughout the Scottish and UK economy. It is created once with an authoritative and persistent ID and then used abundantly. So to briefly wrap up, here are a couple takeaways. The model that IS Improvement Service has established is one that sees a single source of creation of the data in a standardized and consistent manner. This is irrespective of the number of inputting organizations, and this can easily be scaled up. Then ensure there is a consistent schema and stringent data inputs guidance and validation in place, and then provide that data to licensed users as easily as flexibly as possible, ideally via live feed, via a web service, whilst enabling feedback loops for continual improvement. Thank you for your time, and please visit osg.scot for more information.